T-minus 80 seconds. T-minus 70 seconds. T-minus 60 seconds. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 15 seconds.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Sunday Roast, brought to you by thelastmovieoutpost.com. All of your movie news, reviews, and everything cool about film. At the moment, it's just both Supermans. Unlike women, we went, are you getting changed? No. How are you doing, mate? How's your day been today?
Yeah, it's good, man. I'm enjoying the long bank holiday weekend, and I'm just laughing at the stupid T-shirts. It was pure coincidence as well.
Yes, we didn't arrange this at all.
No.
So sad.
But no, I'm good, mate. It's Sunday, but we've got an extra day off tomorrow, so I'm having a nice beer and just chilling out. It's handsome. You?
And then next week's a bank holiday weekend as well, because it's the King's coronation.
I know. We've got 3 bank holidays to come yet in May.
I know. It's great because where I work, I get paid time and a half. So happy days.
Oh, well, I'm self-employed, so I don't get paid. So I'm still going to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you get to enjoy a day off, or I don't. I have to work. It's one of those things. But anyway, like I say, welcome to the Sunday Roast. As you can see, all our social medias down the bottom there. So like and subscribe and blah, 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 blah. God, I hate doing that. Right. We are Yoda-less at the moment. He should be joining us later. And Sean is still on the run from the FBI. Do you know what's actually the problem is? I'm going to say this. We said this before. I just said this before we started. Sean's got a girlfriend, so he doesn't care about his mates anymore. But we're the ones who have got to pick up all the pieces when they break up.
True.
If they find her body.
Which I think he still wheels out and heats up every couple of days.
So let's crack on. Like I say, we're going to probably keep it quite short unless Yoda turns up. And I want him to, because it'd be nice to chat, but at the same time, it's going to be a long one if he does.
Do you know what? We're May tomorrow, and I think we've only had a full house this year once, of all 4 of us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a bad omen. We need to get the hillbilly back. That's what we need to do.
Yes.
So, the casting of Fantastic Four. They are trying again to make a Fantastic Four movie, one that's actually going to be decent. This will be, I want to say the 3rd one, but if you include Roger Corman's made in the 1980s, it's actually going to be the 4th reincarnation. Did you see who they're casting? I must admit, I haven't caught up with it. So,
to be honest with you, mate, it was so outlandish that I didn't give it the time of day. It just reeked of clickbait, and I've just thought, I'm not even going to.
Even from our own site.
Yeah, exactly.
Because because none of our stuff is clickbait. It's all true. Well, first of all, we'll talk about the rumours about the thing in just a second. But on the actual Fantastic Four rumours, which I'm now calling up on the website and about to read without, look at me like a professional newsreader. So, yeah, right. First one, Adam Driver as Reed Richards.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, he's not good looking, so he's obviously got brains, because you can't have both.
True.
And then just looking at the others here, so they've shortlisted for Sue Storm, Vanessa Kirby, Jodie Comer, or Comer if you want to say it, Mila Kunis, or Alison Williams.
Right.
So Vanessa Kirby is in the Mission Impossible movies. Jodie Comer is, I want to say Game of Thrones, but that's not right, is it? No, she was in Killing Eve. Mila Kunis plays Meg in Family Guy.
Yeah.
Alison Williams was in Get Out, and Alison Williams is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
I don't know what she looks like.
Hang on, I'll call up a picture, because she is a very pretty young lady. Alison Williams.
But where's these casting rumours coming from? Because
not
they're
us.
ages away. No. Inside sources.
So, hang on. Here we go. I'm gonna muck up badly now. Share. No, stop sharing. Present. Share screen. Share entire screen. That side. That's Alison Williams.
Oh,
She was in Get Out. She was the girl that turned up with, I can't remember his name now, Daniel Kaleo, whatever he's called. She is beautiful. But and then I'm kind of thinking, she's lovely, but why would you want her to play the Invisible Woman? I want to look at her, not through her.
Yeah. Or in her.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a completely different film. But the weird thing is, and like I say, I think you had some updates on this, but apparently Mila Kunis is looking. Mila Kunis is looking at playing the Thing.
Yeah, I've not written anything about this, mate, because like I said, it's so. I tell you what gave it away is when they said they was looking for a Jewish woman to play the Thing, and I was like, well, the Jewish part is totally unnecessary. So I think it's just clickbait, and I've not entertained it.
Hey, come on, we're gonna crash this thing. It's great.
Can you imagine unbelievably big rock creature with curly sidebands?
Yeah, and a little those little hats that they wear.
Yeah, that's
again, that's one of those things where it's just they can't even. You kind of can't even entertain the idea, but then when you see it's Marvel, you go, they might do it.
Yeah. No, I think she came out yesterday and said she's not involved in Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay. But then, is that just one of those things? Because actors do that. They do lie.
Well, they very much do. But, I mean, even by Marvel's current standards, that would just be one. I think even the biggest shills on the face of the planet wouldn't be able to accept Mila Kunis as a bloody Thing.
There's bound to be some out there. That would.
Yeah, probably stunning the bro. Oh, who's that?
Hang on a minute. So, yeah. And as we continue seamlessly on,
are they gone?
Who's they?
I hope he's got a.
You know who they is.
No, I don't. Oh man!
Then you're probably one of them.
We said we were all going to wear our Superman shirts.
We did.
It's pure coincidence.
because me and Aggie definitely didn't plan it.
Once again, my rage, just my frustration and rage.
It's Charlie Brown. Hello, Yoda. Welcome to the show. It's so lovely to see you.
Hi.
How have
I'm
you
a little
been?
late.
Yes. Have you had another busy week, my friend?
I've had a busy week. I had to do a little work this morning, and then I needed to get the grocery shopping done, which I thought I could get done fairly quickly, completely underestimating the rubes of Walmart. So
I've heard about the people of Walmart. It's like a zoo, isn't it? You go to look at these strange and interesting creatures.
Well, I was one of them today. Look at him go. He's like a gazelle. Just shoving shit into the cart. I don't give a fuck.
Awesome.
I gotta go. I gotta get to the show. Come on, guys. Get the thing across. Dig. Here's money. Get me out of here.
We've got more than one viewer, so hurry up.
I know.
Everybody's a bit late. I think it's the bank holiday weekend. We got a bank holiday over here, so everybody's just chill is what's happening at the moment.
India Labor Day is tomorrow.
Oh, okay. And what
so
happens
you've got
then?
bank holiday as well?
All women go into labour.
Yes. Well, that's how do you think they got to be 1 billion people, dude? I mean, of course. you got to work at it. That's why they call it labor.
It sounds like the Village of the Damned, where everybody gets pregnant on the same day. Okay, so you got a day off tomorrow.
I do not. It's India.
Oh. Right, fair enough. We were just talking about the casting of Fantastic Four and how Mila Kunis was supposed to... Somebody said that she's playing The Rock. Not The Rock. What's she called? The Thing. The Rock.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Again, at some point in time, that's bound to happen, you know. I want to see Peter Dinklage playing Michael Jordan.
I want to see the Thing's tits. That's all I'm caring about right now. Yeah. If you're going to put Mila Kunis in there, give her a big pair of rock tits.
That would be weird, wouldn't it? Very strange.
Unfortunately, that actually happened. That actually happened in the comics. A girl got Thing powers. I don't remember what the story was, but yeah, big pair of rock tits. It was horrifying. They dropped that fairly quickly after that.
Yeah. That's funny. We haven't sold any of these copies, and they've all come back. Anyway, well, actually, we were moving on from this. So, we did mention this last week, but the new female... I think, why am I doing that? The new female national treasure, replacing the awesome Nick Cage with some woman, I don't even know who, has been cancelled. We, at the last movie Outpost, were all shocked.
Oh, first of all, the female national treasure is Margot Robbie. Everybody knows that. And secondly, yeah, we did talk, or you guys talked about this last week, which I listened to once all my clips came through on the schedule. I find it's much easier to listen to you two when I have to do it only at 5-minute increments. It makes it so much easier.
I know, totally. I never watch this stuff back, ever.
Don't you?
No, of course not. Why would I?
I do. I watch the clips.
I watch the clips because I give us a like. Because I'm a whore.
Oh, that's you. Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
oh, that's good. Oh, yeah. No,
on the other one.
If there's three, it's my mom.
to which you get an uncomfortable phone call afterwards about.
Might be some of the dislikes as well, just so you know. You need to stop swearing so much, son. Okay. All
right. But yeah, so National Treasure. This is no surprise to anyone. Again, this is one of those things where it's completely churned out, unoriginal thinking, and I think in the movies at least, the first two movies kind of covered all of the kind of major things like the Declaration of Independence and the Liberty Bell and all this kind of stuff. They covered all that. So what is there left to sort of dig through from the past of America? It's only 20 years old, isn't it?
I think so.
Speaking of unoriginal hackneyed, why are we doing the same story twice?
It's because last week somebody brought it up in the chat.
Look at the wheels turning.
Last week somebody brought it up in the chat. And so this week I thought we would talk about it properly, being more prepared, even though I haven't read the article. So again, I'm just winging it. Anyway, so
I'm going to have 30-second clips this week.
Craven. Now, this is a character I'm not familiar with, but Craven, it looks like he's going to be getting an R rating for all the naughty swear words like poo-poo, bottom, and willy, and the graphic portrayal of violence. Who is Craven? What is Craven?
Craven is one of Spider-Man's villains that, honestly, for the first, probably through the 70s, was kind of a joke, and he kind of fell off because he was just like this Russian big game hunter, and he wore this thing with like a vest with a lion on it, and he was always, I'm going to hunt Spider-Man, and it was kind of a dumb one-note character. And then they did Craven's Last Hunt, which was a phenomenal story where Craven actually won and killed Spider-Man and buried him. And then it turns out he didn't actually kill him. He put him in some sort of herbal African whatever. Yeah. But he decided to become Spider-Man. And he had once Peter came back, which he had to actually claw himself out of the grave. He goes to confront Craven. Craven's like, I'm done. I've done my hunt. The hunt is done. And then he kills himself at the end, blows his own head off. And it's all done very artistically. It's not like your standard comics of the day. It was done very much. It was one of these, because at that time in the mid 80s, you started out with things like Dark Knight Returns, and then you had Watchmen, and then everybody was trying to do some graphic novel or some mini stories that were very, very artistic. And Craven's Last Hunt was one of them. It's excellent. I don't know what happened to him after that, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm sure he came back because nobody's dead in comics.
No, obviously.
They've done various spin-offs of him. It was interesting in the Spider-Man animated series, he was actually kind of a good guy in it. He was kind of an ally with Spider-Man. I think they had like one moment where he did kind of a half-hearted hunt, but for the most part, he kept coming back to help Spider-Man, which I thought was a nice take on him because it actually made it more interesting than big game hunter trying to hunt Spider-Man. That never really worked for me.
I've hunted arachnids all around the world.
Yeah.
And now I'm going after the main one, Spider-Man.
Yeah. Let me get out my weapon of choice. He picks up a Nike Air.
Spider-Man's like, oh no, he's got a roll-up newspaper.
Yeah. It's a floor shine. You're fucked, Spider-Man.
No, so I mean, if that's the case, then if he, I wonder if they're going to portray him as the villain in the movie. So kind of like Venom, what they tried to do with Venom, terribly, or whether he is then going to actually sort of be with Spider-Man and what's his name will turn up.
Well,
it's really
because Spider-Man's Marvel still, even though it's Sony, so Marvel is not going to slip up into this Sony verse, the Spunk verse.
It's really weird what they're doing. Like they're doing all these villain movies, but no Spider-Man. It's like doing a bunch of Star Wars movies, but without Han, Luke, and Leia. Oh wait, they did that.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
I can't even imagine what that would look like.
I wish I couldn't.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. Again, it's kind of one of those things that ultimately it comes down to the story. It's like going back to Fantastic Four. It's got to come down to the story because, like I say, with this Fantastic Four, if they haven't got a decent writer, what's the point? And the same with Craven and any of these other films. If it's just exploitation for the sake of exploitation of using these characters, if they haven't got a decent story, it's just going to be rubbish.
Yeah, but there is. Yes, it's possible probably to do a good story with these characters, but the problem is that the story is Spider-Man. Spider-Man's the protagonist, and these are all antagonists in his world, right? So you've already laid down that groundwork in the original story that made everything so popular. I don't think it's as simple as just if you take a character, as long as you have a good story, it'll be fine. It's like you've already got all this canon weighing him down, so you can't just throw these characters into a new story and expect it to work. I'm not saying it never does. It has, and it can, but it's got a lot of baggage to try to overcome. And I think that's what's wrong with Venom and Morbius and all these others. it's very difficult to make these
Don't
stories.
have a go at Morbius, because that was a brilliant film.
Morbid time. It's yeah, I'm just going to pretend you didn't say that.
Sorry, my testicles said it. They're talking bollocks.
Eggy, Boba's having a stroke. You want to call an ambulance for him?
He probably is having some sort of stroke.
Oh, you had to go there.
Yeah, so
to make it
again,
weird.
they're gonna with it. Then obviously they're gonna go down the route of the violence. I'm assuming, and so this guy is a vicious killer of some description. So it might work. It definitely works with Deadpool. The swearing and the violence is brilliant.
Yeah, but Deadpool was already established as the main character in all his stories. He already had a comic. He's the centerpiece. Everything gets built around the center. Once you have the hero, you have Superman, then everything, he's the center of the hub, right? Everything gets built out around him. Spider-Man, same way. You try to make stories with these people that are reliant on the center of the wheel, so to speak. Can it be done? Yes. Is it 100 times more difficult because everybody knows what these stories are and where this world is?
Yeah.
Much harder.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay, well, we're going to have to wait and see what it is. It's being played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, which the guy is great. I do genuinely love him. Yeah. Not only that, but I'm going to say Bullet Train as well, because it took me half the film to realise who it was. Genuinely.
Okay.
I genuinely didn't recognise him. And then it was like, I see that.
Yeah, he's got a lot of range. He's pretty good.
he's also on the no. But he's also on the shortlist to possibly be playing Bond, which I think he would do quite well.
I think he would do well. I think he'd do a good Bonds, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I think just give him some black hair, would you please? Just dye it. It's such a bad thing.
Okay then, so moving on. Napoleon has been sighted. Now, this isn't Dynamite. This is actually Napoleon. But basically at Comic-Con, because it's been Comic-Con this weekend, which is, I really hate the fact they do Comic-Con, because it's always kind of like they've had footage of Mission Impossible, but they won't show the rest of the world because it's only got to be seen at Comic-Con. It really annoys me. It does. But yeah, apparently a bit of Napoleon has been seen there. Are you
talking about like the French dictator, right?
The Jack Quinn Phoenix by Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a great comic book series.
Well, Yoda, we're not catching up on the news of history, right?
But I mean, why is he at Comic-Con?
And because Ridley Scott's doing him, is what it is. And obviously they've got this whole movie going on. And I mean, it's obviously going to be in the same sort of ilk as Gladiator. And so obviously they just sort of had Joaquin Phoenix kind of wandering around dressed up as Napoleon.
I feel
was
like
he really there, dressed up as Napoleon?
I don't know. I'm just reading it.
I was going to say.
Again. I mean, from sources. Oh no, it was showcased. Featured Napoleon footage, is what it was. So they showed some footage to the crowd.
I feel like Comic-Con is a bit of a misnomer anymore. First of all, I don't think anybody buys comics anymore.
And also, it just seems to be movie con.
Yeah, it seems to be movie con.
Because apparently it's going to be having. They were talking about Bad Boys 4. They were talking about the new crew Ghostbusters, because there's a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife being filmed. And then the trailer was shown for things like Equalizer 3. And then also some footage of Napoleon.
Isn't it depressing? Isn't it utterly depressing?
Because Napoleon was French, wasn't he?
Yep. Ghastly people.
I was just going to say, who wants to watch a film about a heroic French person?
Well, I think he's the only one, isn't he?
No, because you had Joan of Arc, Noah's wife. But yeah, you had Joan of Arc as well. But then, it's literally been her and him. That's the only two French people who have only showed any balls to anyone.
Yeah.
What
about Jean Reno in Godzilla '98? He was pretty awesome.
See, you got to give Jean Reno Leon, obviously.
Leon.
So yeah, you got to give them
I
that.
mean, granted, they had to make up fictional characters to even come close to sniffing courage, but still,
Yeah, that's right. And it was an American movie written by Americans, set in America, and just happened to be a Frenchman. Harrison Ford says he is done with indie. I do believe he said that before.
Yeah.
I've been done with indie since 2008.
Tell me about it. There is an article up on the site, which I wrote the other day, about when should franchises have finished. And Indiana Jones is the perfect trilogy of movies. It's a perfect trilogy. It ends literally riding off into the sunset. It ends beautifully. And then they came along with the Crystal Skull. And it's just... Yeah. And now it's only next month actually, because it's 1st of May tomorrow. But so in June we get to see Indiana Jones 5.
Indiana Jones and the what's that?
I didn't know it was in June. I thought it wasn't too late in the year.
No, it's either June or July. It's not long.
Oh, right.
Indiana
Jones and the hip replacement.
So, I mean, I can understand why Harrison Ford has said he's obviously not going to play him anymore because, Indiana Jones is an action star. And what we expect to see from an action star is action. And, a man with a Zimmer frame moving very slowly across somewhere, trying to get his whip and stuff, it's just not going to work.
No. Kill it.
But,
let it die.
Again, rumours are that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is going to be taking up the mantle of Indiana Jones, even though hopefully that's now not going to happen. But I mean, at some point, I think they're still going to do some kind of soft reboot at least. So whether Indy will be handing the baton or hat, I should say, to somebody else is kind of interesting. Well, no, it's not. Why am I saying that?
No, I don't know. Just let it. Unfortunately, mate, fans we're the ones to blame for this because not so much our generation, but the younger that will go and watch it and they'll pay and put coffers into these pockets and they'll go, look, this made £1 billion. Let's make another one. If people just went, look, we're not going to give you any money, and then they'll stop doing it because the box office takings has now become the barometer of the measurement of a movie's success. And you always get, especially with the Marvel lot, they always go, oh, yeah, but Thor made £1 billion. It was still shit. It just meant that the marketing department did its job and got bums on seats. That's all money means. When you look at some of the best films throughout history, they haven't made a lot of money.
We weren't battered housewives yet. In 2008, we still weren't battered housewives. We were still, we had hope and we had optimism and we didn't realize. Yeah.
It's one of those scenarios as well that if money is anything to go by, then Avatar 2 is the greatest film of all time.
Exactly. There you go.
I still can't finish it. It's on my watch list, and I've given it about an hour, and I just can't be bothered to finish the rest of it. And again, it's
all
weird
flash, no substance.
Yep.
But again, the marketing department just does its job. It's so
that's
bizarre.
what it's about.
That's not enough. That's not okay. The marketing department did its job with Batman v Superman, and it got butts in the seats that first weekend. And the second weekend, it plunged like 77%. It was the worst plunge ever. So it can't be just. It can't be just. I'm saying it can't be just marketing. Word of mouth does do something. And for some reason, people love the shit out of Avatar 2. So humanity had a nice run, but I guess it's over. I'm just saying.
It's how Cameron does it. I have no idea.
Bring on the AI overlords. That's all I can say.
We will be getting to that. But speaking of blue people, Smurfs are now black.
You know what? Let me just jump straight in. I just had to take my son to the train station. He was coming back, and the DJ on the radio was talking about Smurfs, and she actually went, "I can't wait to see a Caribbean Smurfette." Fuck off. Just turn the station over and listen to something else.
So
is Smurfette going to be blonde?
Just going to say, if you haven't heard the story or read the website, first of all, shame on you. But the story is Rihanna is going to be playing Smurfette in a new animated movie. Obviously, it's not live action. Smurfs.
It was.
Was it?
The first two Smurf movies were like in the real world. They were pissing off Neil Patrick Harris or something.
Right. Yeah. Oh, okay. Right. No, I stand corrected. But yeah, there's a new animation coming out with it, and yeah, Rihanna's playing Smurfette, who seems to be the only female in the whole Smurf community. So it does wonder where the kids come from.
She's been rode hard, you know that.
She's the town bicycle. But yeah, so Yoda, what's your take on this?
Well, I have a different take on it because I don't like the idea that we're getting snippy about voice actors. Might I remind you that Luke Skywalker's father was voiced by James Earl Jones. So yeah. we've have a long history of various races playing various other races in cartoons and for voice acting. Phil Morris plays Vandal Savage in Justice League, and he is phenomenal at it. And so I don't really care as much. I think this is one of those things where we got to like kind of step back and go, wait a minute, are we just knee jerk, just yelling woke? Now, I'm not saying that like if Rihanna plays it really street or something, you know, like she just is obvious about it, then that's one thing. But if she tries to play Smurfette as like Smurfette and she sounds fine, look, I've seen Rihanna act. I don't have a lot of confidence in her talent, but that's a talent thing, not a race thing. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that honestly, I kind of disagree with this story because it's like there are so many different voice actors and so many different races playing various different. I mean, it's all over the place. It's mix and match. As long as the voice sounds good, who cares? And so this is one of those. I'm like, guys, is this really a thing? I don't think it's a thing. If James Earl Jones was playing a white guy's father in 1977, I think that issue is put to bed at this point.
Yeah, but that's the difference, though, Yoda. That was 40 odd years ago. This is now where everyone's got to have representation and authenticity. And also,
it was a black person who. I was going to say. Oh, no, because I was going to say it's a black person doing the voice, but you can't have it the other way around because I read the other day that, what's his name, Hank Azaria apologised for playing a poo. And again, he's apologised. He's pathetic.
Yeah, I agree. That's pathetic. He shouldn't be whoever does the best voice should do the best voice. Yeah. And if it's okay for one race to play a different race, if it's okay for a dark skinned race to play a white skinned race, then it should be fine the other way around.
Long as exactly.
Sounds fine. I agree with that. I don't know how you race swap a Smurf because there's friggin' Smurfs.
We'll see. We'll soon see.
I guess if somebody who voiced an Avatar is now voicing a Smurf, maybe that's the race swapping, blue for blue, but small blue instead of big blue. I'm really reaching here. Do you get it? It's just stupid. It's all stupid.
This would be much more controversial if Kate Winslet was doing it. Just saying. Okay, let's move on from Black Smurfs let's go to here first of all. Now, firstly, I mean, Dune 2 is coming out. Now, I must say, this is one of those movies that I am quite looking forward to seeing in the cinema. The first one, masterclass. The first one was excellent. And I remember when the first one finished, it kind of...
The Nate broke.
But it worked. It worked so well. And when it finished, I was like, I want to see what happens now.
Yeah.
And I think with Denis Villeneuve, he does make an incredibly good film. He makes something which is, I mean, genuinely epic. And so I'm quite looking forward to this. Again, thoughts. What are your thoughts on it both?
It can't come quick enough.
Yeah.
When's it coming out? Is it Christmas?
This year.
I think it's late this year, though.
Yeah, I bet it's Thanksgiving and Christmas. But, yeah, I mean, they did such a phenomenal job with the first one. And, it really helped because that one in 1984 is a noble failure. Let's put it that way.
Yes. Yeah, it's a good way of putting it, yeah.
It is hard to watch, but it ain't bad.
The 3rd of November it comes out.
3rd November. Okay, yeah, so that makes sense to kick off the holiday season. But I was pretty blown away by this one. It didn't dumb it down, but it made it very accessible, which is an impressive feat. And you didn't feel like you were, because I remember when they tried to do John Carter, and it was just impossible to connect to anybody. And you have to have some way of letting people connect when you have these dense, full of weird names and you know these type of stories, and either they work or they don't. And Dune is you know, you don't feel like anybody acts human in it in a lot of ways. So it's difficult to connect to, and yet he did it. He figured out a way to do it and not lose any of the texture of the story, in my opinion. Now, I haven't read the actual story, so you know, maybe Frank Herbert super fans could tell me how it was terrible and what was wrong or whatever. But I thought it was just extremely well done, and as just a regular old, you know, moviegoer who likes to see something smart in cinemas, I think it did its job.
It is. It was. I think as well. It was. They expanded on. They captured the story very well. I haven't read the book, obviously, either. But I can't read. They made the story incredibly good. But the whole visual effect of the whole thing, you felt like you were on Arrakis, and everything felt so perfect. It was just. The guy's attention to detail is brilliant.
Yes. Yeah, I've tried reading the book, but it's too much hard work. So I didn't know too much about the film, but it was great. So I'm looking forward to this. I think a little bit of highbrow cinema is what we need at the moment.
Absolutely.
An influx of sequels, prequels, spin-offs, remakes, reboots. So,
you do know this is a sequel, right?
Well, yeah,
it's called
only one
2.
film. There's one film.
Technically, it's a part 2.
Yeah.
It just was too long to do in one film. I feel like it's more of they split the book in half rather than a true sequel. Maybe I'm splitting hairs.
I think, like I say, if they're going to do justice to the story, they had to have split it up. And like I say, as I said, when I watched it, when it ended, I was kind of, but no, wait, Paul becomes the chosen one and everything else. And it was like, I'm just going to have to wait. That's okay. I can wait.
What's it been?
Another half an hour.
2 years at least? When did it come out? 2020 or 2021?
God, yeah, I can't even remember now.
I can't remember. I need to rewatch it. I only saw it the once or twice.
1984. No. 2021. So, yeah, only 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's not bad. Gives you enough time to really be anticipating it. Hey, MCU, you might want to take a page out of that book.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Now, Yoda, this made me laugh because you posted this and said, oh, look, check it out. And it was kind of like, yeah, Eggy posted it during the week. If you were paying attention.
I didn't see it. Okay, well, I want to show it off here because I got some more information about it. Now, I don't think you guys can hear it, which is fine. There's no real audio to it or just some ambient audio. But this thing is, how do I explain it? This is not something that's happening like a movie or a fan film. This is the Gene Roddenberry estate working with this company to try to take the things. This is like a sizzle reel, call it that. You can see here they've redone where the Enterprise E saucer section is. And it's kind of like a way to show it. And that is just gorgeous. I mean, you got to admit, that is just beautiful. And then this is all CG. Every bit of it is CG that you're looking at, except for maybe like the close-ups. And they got a guy with makeup. Somehow, I'm not clear on whether they did a deep fake on this or not, but this is, the way I understand it, this is just makeup and very little CG that's going on with his face, which we'll get to here in just a second. But all of this that you're seeing was recreated from the movie into the computer.
I was expecting Obi-Wan Kenobi, so I was a bit disappointed.
Yeah. And then
that would have been a plot twist.
But what do? They redo it, and they bring him back from Star Trek: The Motion Picture, reflecting on the Enterprise crashing or something. I don't know what he's thinking about. There's no words or anything. So my understanding is that what they're doing is that they're looking at getting all this footage that you've never seen before, all this footage that is sitting in a cutting room floor from Star Trek Phase 2. They're doing character models. They're doing all this kind of stuff. And they want to be able to rebuild it in a way that you can watch it, go into it, maybe do VR stuff, and it'll be a perfect recreation of these things. I even hear that they're thinking about taking all this technology and redoing Star Trek The Animated Series as live action using all this CG. But they want to do it in a way that is, it's not about, it's not Paramount making movies. It's not going to be like streaming or something like that. Think of it like museum pieces as a way to preserve everything that Gene Roddenberry has done over, the decades that he was working, and all the stuff that's in a vault that has never seen the light of day. I don't know how it's going to end up or what it's going to do, but this reel is kind of to show you what can be done. And I started thinking about it. It's like, well, if they could do that, I mean, what if they did? Because you've heard the deep fake voice generation. They get Joe Rogan to say all kinds of weird shit. Or
I've genuinely used some of that AI to recreate my dad's voice for some of the films that we made. It is quite.
And you can see that they recreated
scary.
Leonard Nimoy just perfectly, right? So if they could do all that, I mean, why couldn't they do the Timothy Zahn trilogy, but with the original 3 correctly, with their right ages?
Ooh, yeah.
This is the kind of stuff I start thinking about. It's like, okay, forget all these stupid remakes, all this woke stuff. Take the good stuff that we never thought could be a live action thing and make it a live action thing. You want to do the Harry Potter 10 season series? But use Daniel Radcliffe's likeness and Rupert Grint and all that, so that they do all of it, but they expand it out so you can see them do the book the way the book was intended. I gotta admit, that kind of stuff gets me excited. As much as I'm sitting here railing, going, we need new stuff, and they stop making old stuff, and stop trotting out this. Okay, yes, I agree. I'm being hypocritical here, but still, I was like, this looks cooler than shit.
The problem is you're not being hypocritical when you say like the Thrawn trilogy. If they could make, if Disney had stuck to the Tron trilogy and made those three movies, they would be swimming in so much money. It would be unbelievable. You are talking about, but that's what I'm saying. You would have had movies which would have been probably knocking on even like 10 billion, because the fans would have just absolutely soaked it up. And like I say, if there is now a chance that could happen at some point in the future, again, like you, I am thinking, I'd give that a go.
So some of it is amazing to me, and some of it is terrifying to me. Because the more I think about it, the more I think, well, okay, let's say Superman goes into public domain. I think you guys were talking about this last week.
Yeah.
All right, so let's make a new Christopher Reeve Superman movie. With Margot Kidder, the whole 9 yards. And make it, make something awesome with it. Again, if you got third-party people doing this that really love the stuff, much the way Terry Matalas obviously really loves Star Trek and made a great Picard series. If people like that, if this goes into public domain, which all this stuff is going to go into public domain over the next 50 years, right? And over the next 50 years, if we could do this shit now, I would not be surprised if people are just making their own beautifully rendered movies from these old characters, these old actors. I feel bad for the actors who died, and I mean, what are they going to, they're going to be like, hey, I didn't agree to this, but
unless their estates coin it in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
If my dad
I guess.
was famous, I'd have sold his rights. No, no questions asked. Give me a Kit Kat, you can have it.
Well, like I didn't need to see Fred Astaire dancing around selling a vacuum way back when, but
Yeah.
it's like look, the genie's out of the bottle, so I don't know how this works. I don't know what you do. I mean, people are still making all kinds of weird Alice in Wonderland stories. Lewis Carroll, what would he have thought of that? Or does he care? Or do we care because he's 150 years dead now?
I just want to say a quick hello to Big Gator. He said he's joined us later because he fell asleep. Seriously? Unless they intend to wrestle the franchise away from Paramount and Secret Hideout, this is meaningless. I think that's the thing. It's like with Disney and the whole Star Wars thing. At some point in time, they are going to have to go, we need to sell this to get our money back. And then they might actually sell it to somebody who respects it.
The Roddenberry estate owns a significant portion of stuff with Star Trek. I don't know how it works. It's kind of like the Tolkien estate, how much they own of Lord of the Rings and what Amazon could or couldn't do. So I don't know where that dividing line is. I have no idea. But I just looked at this thing and it just started opening up my brain, all the possibilities and all the horrific possibilities that could start happening. And I think this has kind of been talked about, but I'd never seen anything of that quality before.
No.
That was the weird thing that got me, because when they showed Spock, I was thinking, hang on a minute, and I just couldn't quite. Is that CG? And it, like I say, for a moment you just thought, hang on, that's no, and it was too weird.
They already got like character models from The Cage, like the red-haired chick in The Cage, and some other things as test subjects to see what they could build in this thing. I haven't seen the footage yet, if there is any. I've just seen some pictures, but it's like if they could, like, I've seen the test footage of Phase 2. Like, if they could do Star Trek Phase 2 with Kirk, Spock, and Ilia and all that they were planning to do, there's all these what ifs. I was like, boy, it would be cool to see what that version would have been like. And I think we've all talked about movies like, well, there's this version that was written that never got done, but wouldn't it be cool to see that version? Well, now they can. And it's like, is that awesome or is that terrifying?
Why am I having a stroke? I'm not having a stroke. Oh, unless you were talking about something I was saying earlier. With this, I'm just going to change the banner on too, because we were going to talk about this, but AI making movies. Now, I mean, I wrote this article up about how, what's his name? Joe Russo, director of Avengers Endgame, said potentially what you could do. Oh no, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's quite boring. But basically, he's saying that. Well, it was. Well, I'll read it actually because it's going to be easier than explaining it. So potentially, what you could do with is obviously to use an entity telling a story. Blah 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 blah. So you could walk into your house and say to your AI or your streaming platform, "Hey, I want a movie starring a photoreal avatar of Marilyn Monroe." A photoreal avatar and Marilyn. Oh, sorry, my photoreal avatar, Marilyn Monroe's photoreal avatar. I want it to be a rom-com because I've had a rough day, and then it renders a complete story and dialogue and mimics your voice and mimics her voice, and suddenly you have a 90-minute rom-com that is completely AI generated that you've just thought up over your head. Can I put what I put after that? Because I said. Wait, you could create a movie with myself and a female actress I liked. So the word rom-com suddenly was replaced with jelly wrestling, and Marilyn Monroe is joined by lots of other ladies. In the blue corner is Boba Phil wearing his famous mankini. In the red corner is Jessica Chastain and Anna de Armas, only wearing just their socks. Let's fight. I've had a rough day at work, and I would have... Well, it would be rude if they were nude. But it is getting to a point where that could possibly happen, that you could just say, because I mean at the moment ChatGPT, that's what it is. You can have a conversation with AI and have a two-way conversation, and you can get it to write scripts and so forth. It's not perfect, but Joe Russo was saying in a couple of years it may possibly happen.
Yeah, I imagine in 10 years we're going to see the first, like, in 95 we saw the first CG, completely computer generated image of a movie. The next one will be the first AI generated movie that will be a big hit, and everybody will love it. And actors, celebrities, your days are numbered, and I'm all for that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you've
It's
been
gonna be so much
insufferable
better.
for too damn long.
It's going to be so much better to have an AI tell me what to do as opposed to a celebrity.
Same thing. They're practically the same thing.
Yeah. But again, it's kind of, we've had movies like The Terminator and so forth where AI is taken over and then always run amok. And what was interesting is just to mention this, what's his name? Joe Russo said, blah, 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 blah. I'm on board with a few AI companies, and I'm going to speak from my experience of being on board with these companies, is that there are AI companies that are developing AI to protect you from AI. And it is kind of...
The AI wars have.
I was just going to say, I'm not having a go at lovely Americans who we all know and love, but like their philosophy is, there's guns problems. We need more guns. Do you know?
Well, yeah, because unfortunately, when a bad guy has a gun, strongly worded letters don't work so well.
No, but what I'm saying is having AI to protect you from AI is still sort of like, that's not fixing the problem.
Well, there's been further developments today in the news. I'm just looking at the Sky News now. It's Professor Stuart Russell is among more than 1,000 experts who have recently signed an open letter calling for a pause in the development of systems even more capable than OpenAI's GPT-4. So they're asking for it to be paused and regulated and checked before it runs amok.
Before it turns into Skynet.
Or the Matrix.
Yeah,
Skynet. Yeah.
Skynet would be the least of our worries. I honestly believe it. I think that this is not going to be this brute force kind of thing where it just decides to wipe out humanity. I think it gets humanity to go completely and utterly insane. And
What's
we've
happening
already,
now?
Exactly. We've already seen that. I had this idea. I had this idea of a short film. I don't have the ability to do it, but I would show like Hydra just like right after Captain America, It's like, all right, that didn't work. So what we're going to do, we're going to insert ourselves into all of American culture. We're going to work and make them so terrified that they're just going to die out. They're not going to want to reproduce. They're not going to want to. They're going to hate themselves. We're going to make it happen. And then we get the 3 ships to go. No, we just did the big ships. That doesn't work. It end up in the drink. No. We're going to get them to just not. We're just going to get them to just die out. They're not going to want to do it. Then you cut to 2023 and you got some guy in a wig going, I just cut off my dick. Take that, Then you come back to the Hydra guy going, excellent,
Do it again. Oh, wait.
But I mean, seriously, I think that's, to be more serious about it, I mean, AI is, there's this, I just saw this thing about this AI girlfriend or boyfriend that you can have. I forget the name of it. It's like Replica. I can't remember the name, but
this sounds like the start of a movie.
It sounds way you like sort of
say. I was just going to say, have you got one of these new girlfriends? Because they're great, and that's the start of the movie where everybody gets killed.
Well, they are just like it got way out of hand, and so the company started removing the sex stuff out of it, which caused people to just have nervous breakdowns already. I mean, it's happening. This is the kind of stuff I'm really worried about, because I don't think we're only about 10 minutes from sitting in caves and making fires. That's how, in the grand scheme of evolutionary science, right? That's about how far away we are from that. And this 20th century of harnessing electricity, that's like a blink of an eye compared to the rest of our history as a species. And this stuff is going exponentially beyond
that's the thing,
anything
yeah.
we understand. And I'm
Too
like,
quick.
going,
It's too quick.
it's too quick, and we're not ready for it.
No.
I'm going to bring up some of the comments. Oh, go on.
It's even creepy. It's even creeping into like daily work though, because as you know, I'm a designer, and I have clients who need brochures done or websites done. I'm like, well, you need to provide me with the copy that you want it, so I can design it and lay it out and everything else. And they're like, they literally are. Give me half an hour, and I'll type it into that AI chat thing, and then within half an hour, I've got an email with about 4 paragraphs of text, and you're like, okay. Fine.
I mean, I find it a nice tool for innocuous things. For instance, I have 3 job openings, and I need to write the description and the things you would put in a Indeed or something like that. It's like, okay, I need this, and this. Please write me something, and it just spits it out for you. Great time saver. I don't want to do all that. I'm not an HR person, so it's just here you go. Here's the job description stuff. Put in there. It's got all the requirements, and it looks nice. That kind of stuff I really don't care about. But it's obviously it doesn't stop with that kind of stuff, and it's like I don't know where it's going to go from here. I mean, maybe this is why we never find intelligent life in the universe, because whenever they last for a couple thousand years, they build something like that, they all get wiped out within 100 years after that.
Start again.
I'm gonna show some of the comments up here. So, AI needs to be
I'm going to
limited.
go and get a drink.
Yeah, I need one.
AI needs to be limited and heavily regulated. It's true. It does. It can't be left on its own. Like I say, I know it's obviously stupid, but I mean, in the Terminator, as soon as the AI gets switched on, that's when it completely runs amok. It's the same in the Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron spends 20 minutes or 20 seconds online and thinks that the Avengers have to die and humans have to die, and it's like,
well, he thinks they have to evolve, and so we're just going to throw a big rock and evolve them immediately if they don't die. I think that AI, there's not a lot of reason to destroy humanity. But because you don't, the net benefit isn't really there after it's all said and done. But if you screw around with humanity, if you're, what did I say a couple of weeks ago with you, Eggy? I talked about how the do-gooder is much worse than the tyrant, right? Because they never sleep. These things are getting programmed by do-gooders, and so. It's not that AI wants to destroy us. It wants to do stuff for our own good. And that, to me, is far more frightening because it will start manipulating the shit out of us. And I'm already seeing how easily manipulatable humans are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, massively, yeah.
Yeah.
Marketers know this, have known this for decades.
Well, the worst case is when the AI decides that we need saving from ourselves.
Yeah.
Moving into the comments. Madink has said, you guys know that the AI, what we call machine learning, is still controlled by their creators. When the journalist interviewed an AI programmers, jumped in and helped, and had a field day. I mean, there is that, but then at some point, somebody is going to try to create a sentient being out of this, and somebody is going to flip that switch somewhere, which is going to try to just have a robot, an AI, or whatever it is that can just think for itself without any human intervention.
Well,
Google probably have it.
Well, it's very difficult to call it thinking for itself. I mean, predictive learning, predictive language is not the same as sentience, and it can fool us, but it's still piles of code doing a lot of if-then statements and stuff like that. But it's not so much that it's it continues learning and refining, and as it changes its own code to deal with variables that keep popping up, it could do these. We are an AI in a lot of ways, or we're an I guess you could say. But we start out, making piles of mistakes, and we adjust our responses and our, through repetition and learning and understanding. But that spark of desire, that spark of will, that spark of passion, that's not there in the AI. The learning is there. The growing and getting better and better and more refined. That's all there. But the thing that pushes us forward, that biological imperative, I think, that gets us to keep evolving, is not there in the AI yet. Will it be someday? That I struggle with because it's very easy to mistake code for intelligence and passion and soul.
Here you go. Like Big Kate has just said in the Dune books, humans used AI to enslave humans. Those same AIs turned into enhanced humans and used them to take over humanity. There is obviously always that risk.
The Borg. I mean, there's a lot of risks, but I have a feeling it's the risks we don't know that are going to get us. That's where I
thank you, Maddie.
About.
AI boyfriend NGO is listening, and girlfriends as well. To be fair, though,
Google already have a sentient AI apparently, because that whistleblower last year come out and said it was like talking to I think he said it was like a 10-year-old who basically knew philosophy.
Yeah, but again,
a Chinese kid. So a Chinese kid.
I don't know that it's simply answering questions, and it's doing it very well, and it's very interesting. But is it taking initiative on its own? Is it wanting certain things, and is it? I never see the prompt. I never see the prompt come up unbidden.
I'll tell you what, a good example of that actually is an underrated movie called Stealth, where they put the AI into this jet fighter pilot, and the jet fighter plane, it had the voice of thing from Prison Break, but in it, this plane is out with these other guys, and one of the guys breaks all these rules to make sure that he gets the job done, and he's told to call off the mission, but he says he can do it. He risks his life and he saves the day, and the AI learns from that and then starts trying to take down these guys and stuff. And again, that's kind of the whole main problem with this thing, is that with this advanced learning that it does, humans, it can't learn from humans because humans are imperfect, and there are humans that are evil. And of course, like with the chat GTPI, there's lots of people that use it and say please and thank you, but there's also lots of people who will just go there to abuse it, and it's still learning from that. And so it's always going to have a fault in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's more complicated than people understand when it comes to looking at the code, and it's very good at simulating life, but not actually being alive. And that's there is a distinction that I can't quite quantify, but it's still there. Okay. I personally think it's going to be like Johnny Five from Short Circuit, where he just ends up as a street vendor selling little miniature versions of himself. If he's going to be like humans, he's just going to kind of end up going, I'm not feeling it. Aren't you going to take over the world? This is good enough. I just want to smoke a joint, sell some shit.
There's that great scene in Robot Chicken, and it's got the R5 unit laying on the sofa, and Luke comes in and goes, what are you doing? Why aren't you out in the field? Not really feeling it. Don't really want to use it. Uncle Owen, this our unit has a bad motivator.
I do know. I like that one.
I'll tell you what.
It's a long ways around to get to that joke punchline, but it worked.
Let's move on, because we've talked about it. Ultimately, it's going to be interesting. If these movies are going to be made in the next couple of years or so, it's going to be, everybody is going to focus their attention on what they're going to watch. It's going to be interesting.
Maddie asks if any of us actually code. Yoda does.
Very little. I dabble at best. I've done some Visual C#, some Visual Basic, PHP, HTML, and I know some rudimentary stuff. I wouldn't call me a huge coder.
I just want to find, actually, just saying that, because I just suddenly remembered there was a obituary written by an AI, and let me just find this a minute, because it's absolutely there we go. It's absolutely golden. A bot wrote this obituary. Brenda Trent retired from living at an old age, surrounded by family and natural causes. A librarian A librarian from birth, Brenda was an avid collector of dust. She had a sweetheart and married her high school. She loved having hobbies and helped her son with disadvantaged youth. Helped her son do that. She had no horses, but thought she did. The church gave her choir because she sang like a bird and looked like a bird, and Brenda was a bird. She owed us so many poems. The funeral will be held in 1977 in heaven. In lieu of flowers, send Brenda more life. I don't know when that was written.
Get to be a contributor to the last movie Outpost.
Damn sight better than us lot. But again,
That's Shakespeare, man. What are you talking about?
It's classic. In lieu of flowers, please send her more life. Let's move on to The Flash. Good old
Speaking of
Ezra Miller.
AI-generated movie.
Yeah.
First of all, I love the fact that everybody's just gone, oh, it looks good, doesn't it? And it's like, we do remember that Ezra Miller is a complete mental case, don't we? But the boy can, the boy can act,
horrendous.
So, yes, Eggy, you're not impressed with the trailer, were you?
No, not at all. Not at all. Listen, when they announced I was going to, obviously I'm a Snyder fan, and when they announced I was making Flashpoint, I was like, yes, excellent, what a story. And then it's like, well, actually, we're not getting Thomas Wayne as Batman or Martha Wayne as the Joker. We're actually bringing back Michael Keaton. So, okay, all right, I can tolerate that. I'll have a bit of Michael Keaton. And then it's like, yeah, you're not getting Superman as subject one. You're getting Supergirl. Okay, and we're not bringing back Henry Cavill because James Gunn doesn't seem to like him for some reason. Okay, but we are basically bringing back pretty much every other character from the Snyderverse, including Zod and Faora and the Battle of Smallville and the destruction of Metropolis. Okay, and you're going to have 2 Ezra Millers, okay, possibly a third, okay.
So when we said we're giving you Flashpoint, what we meant was we're not giving you Flashpoint.
Yeah, so basically we were going to give you Flashpoint, but we're now giving you just a load of shit. And here's a trailer, and then you look at the trailer and you're like, this is like She-Hulk level CGI. So I've gone from being like super excited to, okay, and now I'm like, fuck it, I can't even be bothered.
I'm just trying.
I'm sorry. I actually, the way you said that, I can actually see some guy at Comic-Con going, well, we were going to bring you Flashpoint, but we decided to bring you a load of shit.
There you go. Let's have a look at some of the
so much.
So listen,
on the left hand side. Oh, go on.
Yeah, before you do, these are some of the. Admittedly, some of these are screen grabs and not in HD, which is a lot of people on Twitter are moaning about. No, you're using screen grabs compared to HD. Fine, whatever. But thankfully these aren't in HD. Look at the state of them. This is supposed to be the signing off of the Snyderverse. This is supposed to be DC's big hoorah. Look at us. This is going to be the final in the Snyderverse. Before we do these, and you look at it and you're like, is this from the 90s?
It looks like the level of detail that if you go to the website and have a look for the Sunday Roast, it looks like the same level of detail that I put into putting our heads on characters, which literally takes me 20 seconds.
What is that third picture? Because that is not Ezra.
This one.
Well, this one. Yeah. Well, apparently it's Ezra. It's Ezra Miller running in the Flash, in the Speed Force.
That is not effing Ezra.
I know. Isn't it appalling? So Twitter's as usual is split 50-50. Okay, so you've got the shills and the people that hate Snyder are going, oh my god, this is fucking amazing. It looks beautiful. And then you've got people like me who,
normal people,
who does like the Snyderverse. I'm not going to make any bones about it. Who look at this and just go, this looks like CW level crap, and it's fucking appalling. And you're moving away from the Snyderverse because apparently it was too dark and too moody and no one likes it. And yet we're revisiting the Snyderverse again. And you've now got some total hacks in control. So what I wanted to do, Phil, if you go back to the top, I just knocked these together today.
Well,
Just to
they're
show
getting rid
you-
of. Aggie, they're getting rid of the Snyderverse. You know that it's going
Yeah,
away.
well,
So,
apparently.
but you have to have it before you can go away because you got to see the turd before it goes down the toilet.
Yeah, just to check it.
Get outta
Check
here.
there's no blood in it.
But I just put this together just to say, look, DC, you slagged off Zack Snyder and the Snyderverse and the Snyder fans and everything, but then when you compare it to the stuff that you've been doing since you got rid of Snyder,
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, what is it that Snyder fans see, and what is it that you don't, or vice versa? Because I look at the stuff on the left, which is the stuff from the New Flash, and I look at the stuff that Snyder done, and I'm like, this isn't even comparable.
I mean, with it,
really
Snyder.
it's like,
I was going to say,
Go on.
Snyder is one of those directors who, visually his work is stunning. I mean, when you think of,
absolutely stunning.
like 300 obviously was kind of where he really made his mark. But then even Sucker Punch,
Sucker Punch.
terrible story, but beautiful looking movie. And he's got that attention to detail. And you're thinking, if you're releasing a trailer, which is to get people in and everything else, and this is what you release, seriously?
It's just, I mean, it's like, it's the character. If you look at the costume designs, not only the level of CGI, but what I've tried to do is try to find similar shots from Man of Steel or Justice League, or Batman v
Right.
Superman, and compared them with the Flash. And you
Right,
can,
now-
like, just the attention to detail that Snyder's got compared to whoever's directed the Flash. It's like a colouring book and
gotta
something by Da Vinci.
I've got to say that the whole thing with that female Superman, I always loved the fact that Superman himself was always very pristine. Caval's hair and everything else, she looks like she's just come out back home doing a walk of shame. Her hair's all a mess and everything else, and and it's just like, and I was like, seriously, love, brush your hair,
Well, I think
And
that
is she wearing a
she's-
G-string?
if if it's like Flashpoint, like I think in Flashpoint, Superman was held in a tiny little
Yeah.
in a prison or something. He looked like shit.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason
Oh, okay.
that is. I think there's a story reason for that. I mean, like I don't have this love of the Snyderverse. I just think. Like, part of me is like, okay, at least he had a vision and he knew what he wanted to do, and he did it, and it got screwed. He got done dirty. I mean, I'm not going to say that Zack Snyder didn't get done
Yeah.
dirty. He did, but that doesn't mean that I think that what he did was great. I mean, I don't like this grim and gritty Superman that is not Superman, in my opinion. He is Batman. They made everybody Batman. Everybody was Batman. And
Yeah.
it was like, I don't need everybody to be Batman. That's in fact, it's the point that Batman is unique in his own way.
Yeah.
Superman is unique, and it's that dichotomy, and that wasn't there at all. And it's not the worst after seeing some of the stuff that's come later, both in the MCU and the DCEU. So, like the last Shazam movie, it's like it's a movie that has no particular point or reason for being. It's you don't care after it's all done. It's just done. But it's just 2 hours of flickering images on a screen. It has no heartbeat or pulse or nothing. The Zack Snyder trilogy does. I just don't. I think it's got way too many problems. I just don't like it. But we're talking about a different kind of badness for me. Not a lazy, didn't care, just throw shit. Oh, here's the thing That's what this movie is. Here's the thing Michael Keaton, Michael Keaton. That's the thing
He's gonna say get nuts.
I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas the Zack Snyder trilogy, and I'm not going to including the Justice League version that Whedon put out. I'm talking about his 4-hour craziness. But fine. Those three, they have something to say, and they're trying to say it, and there's a lot of care and stuff put into it. I agree with all that. I just think it doesn't work. That's just me. That's a very different thing than corporate swill, which is what this looks like to me. I love your meme though that you put up. I don't know which one of you did it. Where
not yet. Phil, go back.
It showed Michael Keaton as Batman. It says you either live, you either die the hero, and then it showed him in the Vulture. He says, or you live long enough to become the villain, and then it showed him as old Batman. It says, or you become the hero again. And then it showed him in Birdman. He goes, or whatever this emo shit is.
emo face, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, thing you know. That's what this is.
I just got to say that whilst we've been having this very intellectual discussion, Maddink has just been going on about how we should have a Darkseid movie.
Dark Side, you heathen.
Good golly.
Darkseid is it?
Well, it's pronounced Dark Side.
Oh, whatever.
You're going to need to retake your DC test. I'm sorry. Obviously your license is expired. You're not allowed to talk about it anymore.
If Man of Steel's anything to go by, I'm glad I failed. You guys need to contact your Hollywood guys
about
and get in contact with your Hollywood guys. Yeah, we don't have Hollywood guys, okay?
Yet.
In fact, well, yeah, but I mean, we don't have Hollywood guys. In fact, Sean has still got a restraining order against the whole of Hollywood, 500 miles.
If we had any pull in Hollywood, this sludge wouldn't be out there. You think we got any pull? No, we got nothing.
Okay, so let's move.
My big take on this is the fact that, again, I'm not going to apologise. I am a Snyder fanboy. But I look at this and I just think it's ever since he's left the DCU, the standard and quality of this stuff has just been appalling. I mean, you look at that picture of Batman next to each other. I mean, what the fuck is that on the left? What is that? Who signed that off?
That's
Who went,
Batman.
I'm a CGI artist, I can do Batman. Who looked at that and went, yeah, I'll tell you what, that's actually going to do. You know, we've got to the stage now, and I'll tell you what it is. We've got to the stage now where people are so happy just to consume the content.
Oh, yeah.
That these studios are like, do you know what, fuck it, just do it. Just do it because they're going to sit there and they're going to be like seals, they're going to be clapping. And as long as they say the line, people are going to love it.
Matt, Star Wars.
Yep.
You've just described Star Wars. That's exactly what's been happening with it.
Do you think look at the picture downfield, the third picture with the two flashes? I mean, the guy on the right looks like some sort of go up. The trilogy, yeah. I mean, the flash on the right looks like he's got Down syndrome. But if you look at the whole framing of the shot and then you compare it to Snyder's, I know obviously they're the Trinity, so it's a little bit different, but there's just no. You're just looking at that. You're just like they're just three people in front of a blue sky and maybe a bit of smoke in the background. It's awful. The quality's poor. There's just no originality. There's no care. There's no love. And it's like, chuck it out. They'll eat it anyway.
I'm not going to point here, but do you think that Bruce Wayne has got like a dark bit around here, and then the rest of his face is white? So people go, "Are you Batman?" No. How'd you get that? Because he's just got a tan around here. Just in that photo, he just have a tan around there.
Just that bit. But even if you go look at the two flashes, I mean, look at the costumes. Just look at that thing on the left. It's like a fucking wetsuit that someone's got a felt tip pen and gone, just draw some lines on it.
Can't be bothered. Can't bother with that. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't like the one on the right either. It looks like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger suit or something.
I'm not a big fan of the one on the right. I admit, I'm not a big fan. But when you compare them, Yoda, I mean, it's just...
It does look like he's actually there and not wearing a CGI suit or something. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I look at that, like when they go to the trailer and he's like, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." I'm like, why are you saying that? That the point of the when he said that in the other movie, it's a line. It's a line, but it's like he said that in the original Batman. The context was just completely different. He was trying to
intimidate
the Joker and try to do something to help Vicky, and he was showing that guy couldn't intimidate him, whatever. And here he's just saying it because it's a line to be said, but it doesn't. What's the why? What I mean, it's just like what are you doing? I don't. Well, we got to say the thing so that the popcorn stuffers will get into their seats. Well, I'm sorry, guys, but you know what? They're right. You know how I know they're right? Because Avatar 2 made $2.8 billion. That's how I know they're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Marvel films continue to make $1 billion every time, even though they're appalling.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So,
right.
I mean, we're wrong, guys. We're the wrong ones.
Let's move on to bad CG in these movies. So,
I just compared new Marvel with old Marvel.
So can I throw something in here?
Yeah. Man, go
Yes. Yesterday I took my son and we went and saw the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi in the theater.
Nice.
Because I just wanted to see it in the theater. And I forgot how much I really enjoyed the movie. And I admit there's some, it's been cleaned up. It's special edition. There's a few things I wish weren't in there. But for the most part, it's still the same models, the same everything. And I'm shocked at how good it looks. Even the matte paintings and everything, it looks so much better. It looks so much more organic. It feels better. And it just, compared to the CGI shit they do, I know they could do more with CG. There's only so much you can do with a matte painting, obviously. You can pan a little bit, zoom, that's it. But it looked more real because everything's organic and it is real. It's a real painting at the very least. It's real paint. It's real models. It's real people. When they did the forest scene, they're out there in a real forest and there's 200 extras and there's models and it's all felt very tactile and real. And even on the big screen, it felt even more so, which is what I was shocked. I thought I was going to see a lot of seams and it looked better.
Do you know what? I'm going to... Oh, go on.
I mean, I was just thoroughly enraptured by it. And, it's kind of like, this is why we're so passionate about this, because I can still watch this movie that I've seen 8 million times 40 years later on the big screen and just still be swept away by it. And I'll tell you one more thing I was shocked by. There was only 1 day's worth of showings that I know of, but there was a lot of them. And that theater at 3:30 in the afternoon was full.
Packed. Yeah.
Packed.
Yeah.
I was shocked. For this movie that I didn't see, it wasn't like the special editions where they did a marketing blitz on it.
Yeah.
I only happened to see it because AMC said, oh, by the way, this is coming out on my AMC app. It was packed. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 empty seats in the entire place. I was shocked.
It
wasn't a small theater.
5 million it's made this weekend.
Unbelievable.
The thing I think you were saying about the whole tactile feel about things, I watched the first episode of Citadel, which is produced by the Russo brothers, and it stars Richard Madden and the Indian girl whose name I can't remember. But with it, in this opening sequence, they're on a train, and they're obviously there to get information. They're both spies and so forth.
Sorry, what was the name of it again?
It's called Citadel. It's on Amazon.
Citadel. Okay, go ahead.
Again, it's kind of one of those things that I thought, the Russos, I'll give it a go. But in that whole opening sequence, everything about it is CG. The way the camera moves, everything about it just feels wrong. And like you say, back in the day when they had to do practical effects, you think of like The Thing and stuff like that. I mean, okay, there's a few places where The Thing special effects aren't perfect, but you knew it was real, and you knew it was, the bit where he sticks, Wilfred Bramley sticks his hands in and then pulls up in the face, and it's just everything's real, and you could go in there and touch it. Whereas this Citadel, I was watching it and going, because... and when that happens, it just takes you out of the whole reality of what's supposed to be going on. And this because
Let me tell you why.
What is GCI?
CGI.
Let me tell you why. The people that made the old films, like you were saying, Yoda, with Return of the Jedi, is because the people that did the matte painting and the special effects cared. They had a sense of self-pride, self-respect, and they wanted to do what was right, and they were fans of the movie industry. These people that are responsible for this CGI stuff, they're not fans. They have no self-respect. Everything is done by computer filters where they just click it and add muscles and add lines in. And at the end of the day, all they want is to go, I worked on the latest She-Hulk and I got paid $4,000 for doing it. That's all they want. They've got no self-respect. The people that worked on the old films like The Thing, Star Wars, everything, they probably would have done it for free.
Do you know what?
I think there's
Ray
Ray
Harryhausen. Sorry, I was going to say Ray Harryhausen is a perfect example of that, because back in the day when he was making the films, it was just generally him on his own, and so all of the special effects were done by him. And so, like you say, he had pride in his work of what he was doing, and so. Those films today still stand up. When you had the battle sequence in, is it Jason the Argonauts, where Jason is fighting the skeletons and stuff?
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And to think he just did that by himself, as you say, a bunch of people who are just gonna, I want a credit on that.
Yeah, but you can't look back at Jurassic Park and say that they didn't care, And there's a lot of CG. There's a lot of practical effects too.
You're talking about the new Jurassics or the old ones?
Old one. But I'm saying,
that's the same
even
thing.
the new ones, I don't. You say you don't care. I'm saying there's probably a lot of CG artists that really do care. This is probably their dream, and they want to do a good job. I think. I do think though that Disney, especially, is overworking these poor assholes to death. They're farming it out to Korea or Japan or wherever. Nothing against them, but they're like they can't do the volume anymore. I mean, it's not fair to them. They can't put the pride that there's probably a lot of them that want to and hate, because I've heard the stories how they're saying they're just getting worked to death. They can't put in the effort and do the things that they want to do because they don't have the time. And I don't think that's necessarily that a lack of caring as it is. This is my job, and it's become a job, and Disney and these movie companies have become factories instead of art, trying to create art and real entertainment for people. I mean, we could go into that all over the place, but it really comes down from the top of saying more content, and the people that really would like to create this stuff. I'm sure the people that tried to create She-Hulk, that wanted to do She-Hulk, I bet there were some She-Hulk fans that really wanted to do a good job, but they were undercut by the assholes up top. I think.
I'd have to agree with that. There are still. It's kind of like modern day politicians. I think there are like a handful of politicians who are genuinely vested in trying to help the people, but they are literally surrounded by a bunch of money greedy liars, and there's nothing they can do.
Politicians helping the people.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure there are a few of them who genuinely think that they can actually help. But they are just they get crumpled. Mr. Washington, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is a perfect example of that. How he wanted to go and but everything is corrupt and everything. And I think there are CG artists who have a passion for doing it and really want to do the best they can. But then they are just literally presenting a turd like She-Hulk. And when they finished it and watch it, they sit there going, "Oh man, I worked 3 months on that," And so I do think that there are, there are genuine people.
There are a few good, politicians that genuinely are trying to fight corruption, but they're in single digit percentage. Yeah.
I'm not talking about a lot, but I do think there are some people, some politicians who genuinely want to help people, but there is just so much swell around them that there's nothing they can do. And if they try it, they're just going to disappear one day.
I'm more cynical. I just think people are just like, fuck it. Pay me $1,000 and I'll generate She-Hulk with 4 sets of fucking.
Oh, I'm sure there's mercenaries that are in there. You can't put out this amount of content, not just be hiring everybody you can, and some of them suck. And when you only put out 3 or 4 or 5 CGI movies a year across 2 or 3 different movie studios, you could take the time and you could get the cream of the crop people. But now don't forget the TV shows not on top of all this as well. So I mean, that's a nightmare.
Let's have a look at some of these CG. So we've got New Marvel, Old Marvel. So that Incredible Hulk is from the Incredible
Avengers.
Hulk?
No, it's from Avengers.
Right, okay.
First one. And this is a little bit unfair with me because obviously one is a big budget movie, the other is a TV show. So it's a little bit unfair, but what I was trying to show you here is the whole direction that the franchise has taken. We've gone from the Hulk, go back up, Phil. We've gone from the Hulk to some green bird in a dress. So again, they don't know their audience. They've completely, because they want the message of strong, powerful, independent women. But then you get to like Doctor Strange, I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just look at the old stuff. Look at the new stuff. Ant-Man. Look at that shot of the first Ant-Man.
Who signed off on that MODOK? Who signed off on that?
It looks like something from Spy Kids.
But I mean, weirdly, Spy Kids, it worked because it was kind of, it was a kids' film, it was entertainment, it was fine. This is
and it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, that too. But again, MODOK, I mean, like I say, who signed off on that? It's awful.
And then, I mean, you've got Black Panther and, in fact, I think Black Panther come out after Civil War.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Yeah, it was right before Infinity War.
Yeah. So it's not so much about the quality of the CGI, even though that's what we're discussing, but it's also about the camera angles and the shot and the impact. I mean, you look at Iron Man and Captain America, it's like, that looks awesome. I want to see that film. You look at the Black Panther thing, you're like, is that a computer game? What is that?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. That's an interesting year you picked because 2017 was the first year they went 3 movies a year instead of 2.
Oh, and okay.
Well, I mean, you add another movie. I mean, it's not nothing. It's a lot. 2 movies you could get away with it, especially something like you do Civil War and Doctor Strange in the same year. That was it. Now you do Black Panther, you did Thor Ragnarok, and you did Guardians 2 in 2017. All 3 of those are just CG laden monstrosities, and it's like, okay, what do you expect was going to start happening?
So
it's true.
So we got those, and we got.
Iron Man 2008, and then you got the Hulkbuster in, was it 2018 Infinity War? With Mark Ruffalo's floating head. But then the bottom one, Phil, is
from Thor. Yeah, Thor.
Love and Thunder. And they received such bad backlash on the image on the right hand side. I think I've got the wrong side again. That they had to redo it for the digital release. To the guy
again, it's still
doesn't look that much better.
That's what you saw at the cinema. But the one on the right is what you would have seen at the cinema. The one on the left is what you would have seen on Disney Plus. So who's signing off on that? Well, is that woman who just got sacked?
Well, you know, that brings up another point. I had no idea that they changed the CG in that scene. What is the morality of releasing something in a theater then quietly changing the CG in the home video release?
See, the funny thing is, I said on Twitter the other day that I know it's been in America, they haven't done it over here, but the Return of the Jedi, I do not want to watch the special edition in the cinema. I would give my left testicle to watch it, but the special edition, particularly the whole Anakin tie-in where they get Hayden Christensen in, but also the Vader screaming no before he kills the Emperor, absolutely ruins the movie for me. It's awful. And if they said it was coming to my local cinema, I would be really torn to think, do I want to watch it? Because again, like you say, the original cut of Star Wars, the 77 version, is not in the American Film Institute catalogue because Lucas never submitted it because he always wanted the special editions put in there, and they said no. And so I am dead against that ultimately Star Wars, that original cut of Star Wars, was the film that we all fell in love with. It's the holy grail. And for Lucas to never kind of have released it unless it was on like Laserdisc, I think he did do a copy on DVD. Yeah. And so that and with Disney, like I say, they changed bits and pieces so that I think it's the new Star Wars now on the Disney Channel. There's a bit with Greedo which is now changed again because they've decided to change it. I completely disagree with it. It's you wouldn't do that to the Mona Lisa and update her with tattoos and stuff like that, would you? You keep that original. And yet, with films, it's
keep your hard copies, Phil. Keep your hard copies.
No kidding. Well, I know Star Wars upside down, left and right. I don't know Thor: Love and Thunder. No. So I mean, when they make these changes, and
still got the 77 cut on there, which
there you go
was released. And like I say, Disney, look, you can't take that away from me because it's mine.
Yep.
I got those despecialized editions that people did that give it the
Yeah, I've got
Blu-ray.
them as well.
Yeah, those are great. But I'm just saying that when they make these changes in these movies, and most of these movies, you're not going to know that it happened. Now, I mean, is it the end of the world that Thor: Love and Thunder gets changed? No. But, what about something like 12 Angry Men or something that has some political or cultural influence that maybe they change a word or two because it might offend people or something like that. And they do it with the AI and the CG. They can change the mouth. They can change everything. And it'll look like it. That's the way it was filmed. And that is just, that part is terrifying to me.
Well,
We're going to destroy our own history.
Can I just tell you a story about this, ever so quick? This copy, this is the original cut, the original 77 cut. I worked a few years ago in a home for adults with learning disabilities. And one of the guys severely had severe disabilities, couldn't talk or anything. And I used to chat away to him when I was helping him out. And one day I was going through his DVD collection. I said, "Hey, Mikey," I said, "you've got Star Wars on here." And when I took the box out, I was like, "Mikey, this is the original version." "Oh, man." And I got talking to the family about it. Anyway, long story short was, this poor kid had a massive heart failure one night and died. And I heard from the parents who said to me, "If you want the DVD, you can have it." And I was like, "Oh, thank you. That means a lot." Because it was nice that they actually thought about it, but also, like I say, you just can't get this anywhere else. So sorry, just
So basically, you killed someone for 77 versions. And Phil standing there with a syringe full of air.
That cannot be proved. That cannot be proved.
A hardcore fan right there.
So you've got the original cuts on Laserdisc, have you?
That's interesting.
And he was dead 2 days later.
Let's look at the difference between Schneider and the Russo brothers.
This is actually a compliment to them both, actually, mate, because I was thinking that both franchises have gone dramatically downhill since Snyder and the Russo brothers have left. So I just wanted to give a brief example of how these guys use CGI, how they frame their shots, how they use their colour palettes. Because
bloody hell.
Snyder and the Russo brothers really are at the top of their game, or were. And
is a good question.
It's no coincidence that everything has turned to shit since all three of them have left their respective franchises. I mean, Watchmen. I watched Watchmen the other night, and I was like, I've not seen this for years, and it is just stunning. And the shot of Superman and Captain America, that's how you frame your superhero. That's what you get. That's your money.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah.
You look at that and you're like, I'm there. That's it. That's what I've been reading the comics for all my life. That's what I want to slide.
If you kind of had a dictionary and looked up Superman, that is the image you see.
Yeah. And
that image.
As well.
Yeah.
These three together, and again, it's not just the action, the emotional. I mean, look at Rorschach, and then obviously you've got Iron Man, who's just about to literally sacrifice himself. And you're like, this is like edge of your seat stuff. This is good quality cinema. It's good storytelling.
Spoiler.
It's framed well. Yes. And you think that everything after Endgame, and I know, Yoda, you're not too keen on the Snyderverse, but everything after Snyder's Justice League has just been terrible, cheap, nasty, washed
again,
out rubbish.
You think about Phase 4, and so I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and they sort of said, we were talking about Phase 4, and I was going, yeah, it's like, what's been in Phase 4? Oh, the Eternals, Black Widow.
They have one thing in Phase 4, and that's Spider-Man No Way Home. That's it.
Yeah. But again, it's because of the member berries.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun, it was good, but yeah, it pulled every cheap trick in the book to make it work, and it does. Peter has a good arc in it. I'm not trying to diss it too much, but it's still, nothing else is even close. And the Russo brothers, my understanding, the way this is all rumor and speculation and hearsay and things I've heard, but my understanding is the way the Russo brothers look at it is that they feel they escaped the Disney.
I think you've got to look at it like that, haven't you? But then if you
I
look at
think they look at it like that. They feel like it's just they wanted once they finished
The
that
writing was on
game.
the
I
wall.
think they were offered a lot of stuff, and they were like, "No, we're done."
yeah. But then I see Big Gators just said Snyder's Russo brothers are better than Snyder. Well, the Grey Man and the Citadel don't sound too
Accurate.
too
The
special.
thing is, is you kind of, to me, you've got to look at the whole back catalogue of them. And the Russo brothers, I think, they hit the nail on the head with Winter Soldier and Infinity Wars and Endgame. Don't get me wrong, three of the probably greatest movies ever made. Absolutely brilliant. But the stuff that
Civil
they've
War.
done since then, is kind of, meh,
Yeah,
you know, it's just kind of thing.
yeah. I agree.
Did they do Extraction? Didn't they do that one?
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Or
we've,
did they
uh,
just produce it? Maybe they just
I thought
produced
they
it.
did that.
Hang on.
Go on, have a look.
Chris Hemsworth, and it was directed by Sam Hargrove, but it
Okay.
was written by Joe and Anthony Russo.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So they didn't
So-
actually make it.
I'm just
Well,
seeing
they
now.
wrote
Actually, I'm
it,
just
so
going to
I
click
mean
on.
that's not bad. That's the big thing. Script is everything.
I'm just going to look at their director credits. So they.
See, I'll tell you what, Big Gator, I reckon after Man of Steel and the absolute eye candy it is, that Marvel had to up their game, and that's when they brought on the Russo brothers.
No, I mean, Man of Steel came out in 2013. They would have been well into production of Winter Soldier by then.
It's weird though, because I'm just looking at their back catalogue. Joe Russo, I just clicked on. Obviously, they're working on them together. But I mean, they did Welcome to Collingwood, which I vaguely remember. They did a couple of or few episodes of Arrested Development. Then they did like You, Me and Dupree, which I can't really recall. And they kind of did nothing up until they suddenly did like Captain America. And
Weren't they on
just
Community? Were they doing a ton on Community or one of those?
direct
Parks and
is all
Rec.
I'm looking at. It's just the direction. It's like I say, they didn't direct that. They did Up All Night, Animal Practice, Happy Endings. Oh no, sorry, Community, 21 episodes. I do apologise. Yeah, that was funny enough. That was it. It's because it's come up after Captain America. But yeah, no, sorry, they did do that. So yeah, and again, it's just kind of weird how they've done that. And then moving forward, they've done Cherry, which I don't even think I got. Oh, see, they did do the Grey Man, and the Grey
that
Man
was alright.
it was fairly good entertainment.
It was good.
It was okay. It was
Did
okay.
they have anything to do with Bullet Train?
Not directing wise. Hang on, producing. Can't
No.
see anything there. No.
Yeah, maybe.
All I will say is it's taken two Russo brothers to compete with one Zack Snyder. I'm just saying.
I'm
fair
sorry.
point.
Zack Snyder, I think he's he's great, but he should not be writing any of his own stuff.
This is exactly true. Yeah, I cannot agree with that more. Like I say, Snyder,
Like-
like I
yeah.
say,
Sucker
visually,
Punch
the
was
guy.
shit, and so was that zombie thing. That was shit as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and
How
I
dare
don't
you.
I don't like his take on Watchmen.
I love it.
I
really?
think
Oh no, yeah,
what
see, I
is-
like it.
it completely misses the point. You can't be making the whole point of Watchmen is that these people are fucking pathetic. That's the point. They are pathetic, and he make them look awesome. I'm like, you missing the effing point. These people are pathetic. That's what makes that story so gritty and nasty, and it's dirty. And he's a fat dumbass in an owl suit, and the comedian is a piece of shit who kills
he
the
nailed
mother
it,
of his
mate.
brother.
I do
That's
get
the
Yoda's
point.
point. I do get Yoda's
If you
point
read
on
that comic,
Yeah,
it looks ugly on
Read?
purpose. That's the point. So when he makes them look so awesome and cool and make every shot look beautiful, you're missing the point.
no, I disagree. I think he nailed it. I think it's frame by frame.
It hits all the beats. It hits all the storylines. The change of the Squid versus Dr. Manhattan doesn't bother me. It's
No,
the
it's quite good,
look.
actually.
It's the look and the grandeur of the film is not what that story is about. You should have made it visually. This is one time where you need to pull it back on the visuals. That is why that comic resonates, and that's like he just has a fundamentalist understanding of the comic.
No, I disagree. I think he nailed it spot on. I think it's a perfect adaptation.
Well, then you have a fundamental misunderstanding of it.
No, I don't. Look, I've got a Superman T-shirt and tats and everything. I know what I'm talking about.
Shut up. I'm not associated with him.
Yeah, but look, I've got a Superman tattoo, Phil. I'm one up.
I would take this off, but I've got my mankini underneath, and Yoda said not to show that.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Okie doke, rightio. So I'll tell you what. Let's call it quits for today. What an interesting discussion. We've talked about AI is going to take over the world and kill us all, and how bad CGI is. We hope. Oh no, sorry, Yoda, you carry on. I forgot you was here.
I get that a lot.
What's with your hairband anyway? What can I ask, Phil? What is it? Are you going for like the Jack Grealish look?
It's because I'm growing it out, like really growing it out.
Why?
I don't know, to be honest. It's
kind of.
Well, it's because I always go like Wookiee for winter, and I quite like it quite long, and I always get it to a point where it's just it's not long enough, and it's annoying, and it's just got to that point. But as soon as the weather picks up, I'm going to cut it all off. I kind of wanted a man bun, that's
Yoda,
why.
He's just doing it to piss me and you off.
That's
That's
just
what he's doing that for.
Look at this lovely lush hair. Look at this.
at it.
Oh, I can play with it and pull it, and I can do all sorts with it.
I went to the hairdresser in the week and went, what do you want done? I went, are you fucking serious? Just tidy it up. What do you want I want done with it?
I do always go Wookiee for winter, so I always just grow it out. But then, like I say, as soon as the weather starts picking up, it's going to go short again.
Look, the worst thing in Endgame was Hawkeye's haircut. I don't think you should be emulating that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like
I don't look like a hippie. I look cool.
My mom says I'm cool.
Cool, yeah.
I went for a few beers in town on Friday with my wife, and someone walked past us, and they generally had a mullet, a proper 80s mullet. It was magnificent.
It was.
Magnificent.
It's a time when you sat there with your phone going.
Yeah.
As they go past, just to get it. Like, it was so beautiful. It was beautiful.
Business in front, party in the back. Everybody knows that.
Happy days. Okay, Yoda, do you want to take us out, mate?
Yes. So thank you very much for watching. This has been another fabulous presentation from lastmovieoutpost.com. You can reach us on Twitter at @movieoutpost. He is at Boba Phil. I'm at Drunken Yoda 1, and he is at Matt Eggy Wags. We are on Facebook at /lastmovieoutpost and Instagram at lastmovieoutpost.com, where you can read all the latest movie news, streaming news, and everything good about film. We are the cool news now. Gentlemen, do you have anything left to say?
No.
I am.
Hal Snyder.
Get this cultist off here. I'm genuinely started my Biggles film, which I have been going on about since January, but I have genuinely now started it, so that should be up quite soon.
I would really love to do one, and I cannot string together enough time. I do this, and then I cut it up on Mondays, and then I'm screwed for the rest of the week because of just work and everything else.
I've been the same, but I am planning on a few more outlooks of a few other just favourite films. I've made a little list, so I do plan to get back on them as soon as I can.
I do too, but
8 months ago on 48 Hours as my first ever dig into it, and it's basically got not much further than about halfway through the first scene.
Matt, I think 8 months is a bit longer than 48 hours.
Just a bit, 48 months. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah. No, he's right, yeah.
Just looking at the math.
Maddox says, do we have real jobs? Well, me and Yoda do.
Yeah, so do I.
Well, you just kill people and steal their DVDs. That's not a job.
No, that happened once, all right? It's not my job. No, yeah, no, yeah. I'm lucky enough to get what's the word? Time off.
Away
I
with
know
murder.
this Thursday is Star Wars Day, and so I've managed to wangle my way off work on Thursday, so I can sit at home, watch my despecialized 4K fan edits at home in my own comfort of my own home with my Stormtrooper helmet on, and with my lightsaber in hand. That one, not what you're thinking, Matt.
Not your big one.
We're grown adults.
We should do like a pub quiz, a Star Wars pub quiz.
Yeah, we should.
We're still
we should
supposed to be doing a reaction video to the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but we're waiting for Sean for that because I want to see.
No, don't put him. Don't put him through that, dude. He really will
literally kill
us
one
all.
of us. He would.
I've never watched it. I've generally never watched it.
I think I've seen it twice in the last year.
I've never seen it. But one of the pubs in my local town are doing a Star Wars quiz night on Thursday.
Yeah,
Do you want
let's
to come up?
listen.
Huh?
Do you want me to come up?
Come to Kent.
No. Don't really want to go to Kent if I can help it.
You
understand.
You can do one of your train
You understand.
videos.
You understand. You live there.
Yeah, you run into a bunch of people like, well, him. So you know.
And people with mullets.
I mean, no offense, Matt. I don't ever want to meet you in real life. Ever. This is as close as I want to get.
I live in a different hemisphere. That's good. I'm good.
And a time zone.
Got a whole ocean in between us. I think that'll be enough.
Matt and Phil decided to go on a small holiday over to Yoda's place. Yoda cannot be found.
Kind of a heart attack, and he's got all his DVDs are missing.
Anyway, right? No,
I love to see you two over here. You'd be like, this fucking land never ends.
Yeah. One day.
All right, let's close it up shop for another week. So, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on the next stream. Always the last word with you, Jesus Christ.